Hey, Computer Science Code Ninjas, this is Mr. Hicks. I want to give you some feedback on how to do Project 7.01, my first web page. Basically, you want to make a web page with these tags right here, and these were taught in the Codecademy course, the second section. If you've tuned this in recently, I moved the image tags to the next project down here. Codecademy did cover images, but in a very simple way. So what I got some feedback from some of you that we need a little bit more instruction on that. So I'm going to move that to the next project. Okay. So just as a reminder, I'm going to go to the top of this document. I did post a lesson on just all the background, so you can watch that about the different types of things available in Replit and the three components of a web page. I have made a Replit template, which I'll show you in a second. And here's some other resources. W3 Schools is an excellent one, so I'll pull that up in a bit. But here's the HTML cheat sheet, which was in the Codecademy course, and we'll refer to this for some of the different elements. Okay. So basically, let's go to the template and notice it's going to take a minute to load. There we go. So I have some of the basic tags that are pretty much needed in every HTML web page. For those of you that went to Replit and made a new Replit, so I'm going to call this Project 7.01 demo. And notice I have HTML as my language. Okay, at first this comes up and it's like, what the heck? So, and over here in the file list, notice I have my index web page HTML, a JavaScript file. I'm going to delete that. We will not do JavaScript in this course. And then there's a style sheet, which we'll do CSS in a couple weeks after we've done some basic HTML. So I'm going to delete those two. So there's basically my index page. And I'm going to go ahead and delete all these and just go from scratch. So I have a completely blank HTML document. So I'm ready to go. Okay, the first tag is the doc type tag. And it begins with an exclamation point, which I forgot. And according to Codecademy, the HTML, let me go back one. The doc type tag basically says this web page that's being loaded into Safari or Internet Explorer, Chrome is HTML5, the most recent HTML type of file. Okay, and then what follows is my HTML code. So I type HTML, and a good habit for most tags is go down and close the tag. So notice when I start to type in Replit, it gives me some hints. Says, hey, I think you probably want to close that tag. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit return or enter, and notice it closes it for me. So all my HTML code will fall between these two. Okay. The next thing you want to do is the head tag, and holy shift. So there's my head tag. I'm going to go down a couple and notice, hey, you probably want to close that tag. So I'm going to hit enter, and there we go. So the head tag, let me indent these two spaces. Oops. Two spaces, and the close tag, two spaces. There we go. This is where all the information about your document goes. They call it metadata to help searches. The main thing we're going to do is a title tag. So there's title. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And then this is what goes in between here is actually what shows up in the browser's tabs when you preview it. So let me close this, enter, and then there we go. Okay, so there is my heading. Okay, let me run this and notice at first you think, hey, nothing's showing up over in the browser. Well, if I hit this on the far right, this open a new tab, notice I do get a blank web page, but in the very top, you should see Star Wars or whatever text I put for my title. Okay, so I put Star Wars up here, so Star Wars will appear in the tab. Okay, so the title isn't on the page. This is in the heading tag. Okay, now let me go down, and the actual information of my web page is going to go within the body tag. So I'll go down a little bit and 2 spaces and close my body tag. Okay, so this is where all the information of my web page will go, basically the content. So the heading right now is pretty much just the tab information of the web browser. The body is where the actual heading will go. Okay. So HTML signifies HTML code will follow. The heading is the top of the document, title. Okay, so now we're in the body. All right, H1, if you did Codecademy, is the largest heading tag. So that's what I'm going to use next. Okay, and the title of my document is Star Wars. And notice I'm going to close that tag. Okay, so here's my Star Wars heading. Let me run this. Now, anything within the body will show up in this browser window. If I want to see what it actually looks like on a web page, there we go. There's my Star Wars. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit for this browser. So there's my page, and notice up at the top in the tab, it does say Star Wars. Okay, so there we go. All right, now what I want to do is use H2 for my subheadings. So these will be the 3 movies: The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so let me go to here and do an H2. Okay. Force Awakens. There's the H2 tag. Okay, so let me run this. And notice between the tags, it puts a little space, which is nice. Notice the H2 tag is a little bit smaller than H1. So there we go. Let me go to my browser. Notice it doesn't show anything. If I hit refresh, it's going to get the latest version of the web page. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Paste it twice. Second movie is The Last Jedi. And the third movie is The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so now let me run this, and there we go. I got my main heading, H1, and my 3 subheadings, H2, for the 3 movies. By the way, in a future project, we're going to start talking about color and things, but right now we're using the tags. Okay, so there's my 3 headings. Notice if I go to the page, doesn't look like it's happened. Remember, hit refresh, and there's this is heading 1. And these are my heading 2s. And notice up here is my title and the tab. Okay. So next, we want to add some paragraphs, some line breaks, bold and italics, and some hyperlinks, of course. So that will finish off the page. All right. So under H2, let's do a paragraph for some information about The Force Awakens. Okay. So I had some pages open. I'm going to try copying this information, and I'm going to add a link to it from my source. And notice, let me add some spaces here. This is called, just like in Python, that's called white space. This will not change what my page looks like. For instance, if I run it, it totally ignores that white space. This is just to space out my code. And now let me paste in that text. So I copied that paragraph and I paste it in the text in between my paragraph tags. So notice here's the opening paragraph tag and here's the closing. Okay, so let me run this, and there's some information about The Force Awakens. Okay, now if I want, okay, so I'm gonna add the hyperlinks in a minute. So let me do this for all three movies. So let me go to The Last Jedi, get a paragraph tag. The paragraph tag is for just basic information, basically text. So let me copy that and do one for Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so let me go to The Last Jedi webpage. I kind of have these pulled up and ready to go. So I'm going to put that in here. So I click in between the two tags, the opening paragraph tag and the closing tag, and I'm going to paste. And now let me run this. Okay, let me go to the web view. Notice nothing shows. Oh yeah, I got to refresh. Very nice. There's my web page. And let's see. Let me get the Rise of Skywalker. Just that first paragraph. Copy that. Control C. Paste. And there we go. Okay. So let me refresh this. By the way, this is what original web pages looked like back in the day. There was very little color, not much in the way of pictures, that type of thing. Okay. The next tag I want to show is the line break tag, BR. And this is one of the few tags you don't need a closing tag. Like the paragraph, I needed the opening paragraph tag and closing. Line break just is like hitting, if you're typing an essay, hitting return or enter, you just get some spaces. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And then maybe see this long paragraph. Let's see, let me start with The Force Awakens by J.J. Abrams. Okay, so let me paste that in here. So notice after this first sentence about J.J. Abrams, I put in a line break. So let me refresh this now. And notice it begins a new paragraph after J.J. Abrams. If I want to add another space, I can put two line breaks there. And let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so notice that breaks it up just a little bit. So just for giggles, I'm going to add a couple line breaks. I'm going to copy those BR, and put like one here before the film's ensemble cast. Okay, so let me run that. And that kind of breaks it up a little bit. So I'll do the same for the other two movies. So here's what it looked like without some line breaks. And there it is with the breaks. The first line break just dropped it down to the next line. A second line break actually kind of makes what we would call a new paragraph if you're reading. Generally, it's hard to read really long paragraphs for online. It's easier. We're used to reading it on a printed page, but online it's good to break things up. So I'm going to stretch this out in The Last Jedi. Let's see, I'm going to add the BR here. pasting, and put another one here. And let's see, down in the last movie, and right here, let's say. Okay, so there it is before. By the way, in Replit, I should run this because that basically saves the latest versions. And then let me go to the tab and refresh it, and notice things are broken up very nicely. Okay, so that's the break tag. For bold and italics, I want to use the strong tag and the EM makes emphasize tag. So let me go that. So let's see. Let me do the strong tag here. If strong, run the title, and let me close it off here. Okay. So notice I'm in The Last Jedi. I started there. So let me run that, and notice right here, The Last Jedi is in bold. So I'm going to copy that strong tag and do it for each movie. So notice I put it up here before Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I'm going to close it here. Okay, and then for The Rise of Skywalker, paste in the strong tag, and then close it off like so. Okay, run this and look at it here. This views a little bit better. Notice my three tags are strong. Okay. This also known as Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to make this italics for each one. So that's the EM tag. Okay, so also known as, okay, let me put the EM tag here and close it here. Okay, so I'm gonna, I just did The Last Jedi because that's where my window is. I'm gonna put it down here on episode 9 and then close it. So here's where I'm typing right now. I just did that, and let me scroll up to the first movie and my EM tag, and then close it right here. Okay, very handy in Replit that you can hit enter to finish a tag. Okay, so let me run this, and notice right here, this is in italics, so is this, and so is this. Okay, so when I refresh the browser, notice these are in italics. And then finally, the last thing for this project, probably the thing that revolutionized the world really is the hyperlink, where you can click on something and then go to a new page. Okay, and that is the A tag. Okay, so let's look at our page. Let's actually link this right here, what we put in bold. So let's link these to each Wikipedia page. Okay, so let's go to here. Let me open this up. Okay, so notice I have the strong tag around Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'm also going to put an A tag, which is originally it was an anchor tag. So I'm going to put A there and close it off here. Okay. So notice I have my strong and then my anchor tag. So I'm going to apply two things to these words: Star Wars: The Force Awakens, bold print, and a hyperlink. Now, let me try running this, show you what it looks like first. Notice nothing really happens to the Star Wars right here because I haven't provided a link. So if you've done Code Academy, you know this. You do href equals quotes, double quotes, and then within these quotes, you're going to copy and paste the URL of the website you want to link to. So let me go to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So it's good to have kind of your pages up and ready that you want to link to. And let me paste that right in here, right into this tag right here. So I'm going to click right in between the quotes and Control V and paste. And let me run this, and there we go. Now, something to think about Replit. Sometimes the links don't work within this view. So let me refresh this page. If your links aren't always working, you can always go to this open in browser, this view, and the link should work. So here's my web page. Let me refresh it. Star Wars Force Awakens, and boom, there I am. Okay, so to finish this project off, I just want to add a tag, anchor tag to the other two, and then I'll be good. So href, I always do href equals quotes. I always do that first because that way you will remember to finish the tag, and then after Last Jedi, I'm going to close it. And I'm going to copy this and put it down for the last movie. So there's my A tag, and then I'll close it after The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so I'm ready to go. All right, so let me go back up to right here, The Last Jedi. Okay, I have the Wikipedia webpage. I'm going to copy the URL and paste it right in between the quotes. And then I'm going to get the URL for Rise of Skywalker, copy that from the top of the browser, and go to my code and paste it right in here. Okay, so let me run this and maybe open it in the browser, open it in a new tab. Okay, so you can see each of my three movies is linked. If I click on this link, The Rise of Skywalker, there I go to the page. If I go back, now I'm back on my page. Here's a link to The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. Okay, so that basically covers all these tags. And the images I'm going to cover in the next lesson. So here is, let's say here's my page. It looks something like that. All right, folks, so there's a demo of Project 7.01. Hopefully you can try it. And once you get the project done, don't forget to get the share link, copy that, and then paste that, send that to me on Google Classroom. I'd love to see it. By the way, if you hit open in browser, this is the link you would share with other people. This is like the posted web page that people can look at without looking at the code. I would like to see this share link so I can see your, not only just your web page, but your HTML also. Okay, so anyway, there we go. So feel free to use, for paragraphs, use text off other pages. We're worried more about the formatting. And by the way, usually, you know, from English class, if you use text from a source, notice I've put a link to each of my three sources. So that's considered good practices to link to your source. All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening. Make sure you try Project 7.01 yourself. This is Mr. Hicks signing off. Bye-bye.